We've all seen cases of obsessive fans towards celebrities, right? Like fans who stalk Taylor Swift, people who tattoo entire song lyrics on their faces for Justin Bieber, and that guy who built a shrine for Ariana Grande in his basement. But imagine you get kidnapped by your number one fan, only to open your eyes and realize that that obsessive number one fan is Kim Jong Un. That sounds unrealistic, right? Now everyone, meet Shin Sang-ok, a popular movie director who directed movies like The Red Scarf, Prince Yonsan, Mother and a Guest, and The Romantic Papa. He was known as the Prince of Korean cinema. Now meet Choi Eun-hee, a gorgeous and incredibly famous actress, and also Shin Sang-ok's wife. Together, they were the South Korean version of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Talented, stylish, and always in the news. But by the late 1970s, their careers had cooled off a bit, and they'd even gotten divorced. Little did they know, a very specific and powerful cinephile was watching their old films from across the border. Now everyone, meet Kim Jong Un. Actually, it's his father, Kim Jong Il, the former leader of North Korea. Kim Jong Il had a serious problem. He was a crazy lover of movies. And when I say lover, I mean an obsessive lover of movies. He collected over 20,000 VHS tapes, including Hollywood movies, Japanese films, European classics, you name it. He even wrote a book called On the Art of Cinema because he truly believed movies were the key to controlling people's minds. But there was one big problem. North Korean movies were, well, boring. All of them were just long speeches about farming, loyalty, and war. So what does a pamper, all-powerful heir to a dictatorship do when he's frustrated with his local film industry? Unlike others who would naturally fund a film school or offer generous contracts to actors, his solution was much more direct. He decided to start his own studio by kidnapping the talent behind popular movies up south. But, like I said, Shin Sang-ok was a big director. He's not just someone you can kidnap that easily, at least not in his country. So after long days of planning, Kim Jong Il got the perfect idea. And that perfect idea was to first of all kidnap Shin's ex-wife, Choi Eun-hee. That way, Shin would become worried, vulnerable, and easier to kidnap. Even though this doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not like they were still married or something, so why would Shin be that worried? But that was Kim's brilliant idea. So the plan was set in motion. In 1978, Choi Eun-hee received an offer she couldn't refuse, a lucrative film deal in Hong Kong. She was super pumped about it. Like, getting an offer outside South Korea was, of course, huge. So she marched into Hong Kong, but the moment she arrived, she was grabbed by North Korean agents, drugged, and whisked away on a ship to Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea. And just like Kim Jong-il predicted, Shin Sang-ok, her ex-husband, was worried and confused. He started investigating her disappearance, traveled to Hong Kong to find clues, and, just as you imagined, he walked right into the exact same trap. He was kidnapped and taken to North Korea too. Now they were both in the world's most isolated country, guests of a man who thought kidnapping was a valid recruitment strategy. At first, Shin was not a cooperative prisoner. He tried to escape twice, and both times he was caught and thrown into prison, where he was beaten and starved for 4 years. Wait, 4 years? Meanwhile, Choi lived under close watch, but was treated a little better by Kim Jong-il. He would often invite her to private dinners, talk about movies, and even brag about his collection of foreign films. And while doing that, he got this crazy idea. An idea that would scare even the best dating app on the planet. Kim Jong-il decided to play matchmaker to make Shin and Choi get remarried. You know, that stuff that happens in South Korean dramas. So he ordered Shin to be released and got Shin and Choi remarried. So imagine being forced to sit next to your ex by a dictator who's smiling like, "Aren't you two cute together?" And what can Shin say, unless he wants to be thrown back into prison for another 4 years? Kim basically told them they were not prisoners. He called them special guests, and their special mission was to make North Korean cinema great again. With Shin out of prison and the couple reunited under duress, the most surreal chapter began. Kim Jong Il gave them everything a filmmaker could dream of: a state-of-the-art studio, a blank check, and a crew that was too terrified to say no. They had full control to produce whatever movie they wanted, as long as the movie praised North Korea, of course. And over 5 years, they made 17 films for Kim Jong Il. The most famous one was Pulgasari, a monster movie inspired by Godzilla. It was meant to show the power of the people, but honestly, it looked more like Godzilla Goes Socialist. Kim Jong Il loved it. He'd visit the set, give feedback like a Hollywood producer, and even scold actors for not being emotional enough. The whole thing looked so unreal. A dictator turned movie producer with 2 kidnapped stars as his golden duo. But finally, the breakout came. In 1986, Kim Jong Il allowed them to travel to Vienna, Austria, to promote one of their films, and the couple saw their chance. During a hotel visit, they managed to slip away from their North Korean handlers and ran straight to the US Embassy, begging for protection. And they were granted asylum. When they told their story to the world, it was so insane that many people didn't believe them. But they had proof. Secret recordings of Kim Jong Il himself bragging about the kidnappings. They finally had their freedom. They moved to the United States, got remarried, and lived out the rest of their lives far away from the world's most demanding executive producer. So yeah, the next time you hear about a crazy fan doing something wild for a celebrity, just remember, at least they didn't kidnap anyone and force them to make monster movies for a communist regime, LOL.